This exercise with each hand until it's easy. Here it is with the right hand. And as you do the exercise, listen.
Добрый день, это «Вести Удмуртии», в студии Елена Лебедева, и вначале коротко о главном. Защититься от гриппа не только в больнице. В Удмуртии снова заработали передвижные медкомплексы, где и когда можно поставить прививку. Остаться в живых жители Завьяловского района требуют включить свет на опасном переходе. Почему фонари стоят, но не работают? Вопросы ответит нацпроект. Кто в нем уже участвует? В Удмуртии сегодня начинается вакцинация от гриппа в передвижных медкомплексах. Об этом сообщили в Минздраве региона. Выездные бригады уже начали работать в Ижевске, Можге, Воткинске и Глазове. Например, сейчас такой прививочный пункт открыт на центральной площади столицы республики. Завтра и послезавтра он также будет действовать там с 10 утра и до 7 вечера. В Можге бригада медиков будет ждать желающих защититься от гриппа на площади у администрации. Точки работы также определены. Для Воткинска и Глазова информация есть на сайте Министерства здравоохранения. Напомню, что в этом году Роспотребнадзор планировал привить 900 тысяч жителей республики, но пока прививки поставили лишь половина. Для создания надежного коллективного иммунитета этого недостаточно. Идти в поликлиники и больницы люди не хотели, только там сначала собирались ставить прививки. От передвижных кабинетов в начале кампании отказались, а теперь снова решили вернуться к такой практике. А в Удмуртию вернули режим самоизоляции для пожилых людей. Работодателям рекомендовали перевести сотрудников на удаленку. Новое распоряжение главы республики было подписано накануне и сегодня уже должно работать. Что теперь под запретом, расскажет Диана Филимонова.
В группе риска по-прежнему пожилые люди, беременные женщины, а еще те, кто имеют хронические заболевания. Именно для них и вводится большая часть ограничений. Впрочем, здесь нет ничего нового. Как и весной, покидать свои дома этим людям разрешается лишь в некоторых случаях. На официальном сайте главы правительства Удмуртии это все подробно расписано.
Режим самоизоляции предусматривает запрет на оставление места жительства, пребывания, в том числе жилых и садовых домов, за исключением случаев обращения за медицинской помощью, следование к месту или от места осуществления деятельности, в том числе работы, передвижение к ближайшему месту приобретения товаров, работ, прогулки.
Переход на удаленку. Речь идет о сотрудниках, отсутствие которых на рабочем месте не критично. При этом зарплата для тех, кто трудится дома, снижаться не должна, напоминают в трудовой инспекции.
Необходимо в трудовом договоре либо дополнительном соглашении определить основные условия. Например, условия о том, что работа является дистанционной, режим работы и времени отдыха, порядок электронного взаимодействия, документооборота.
А еще власти Удмуртии ужесточили санитарные требования для общественного транспорта и жилых домов. Так, управляющие компании ТСЖ обязаны проводить дополнительную дезинфекцию подъездов и лифтов, а транспортники обрабатывать салоны и остановки.
Масочный режим по-прежнему действует и на остановках, и в транспорте. Однако теперь у перевозчиков есть право не допускать. Напомню,
о переходе на онлайн
Далее весны, на каких условиях будут работать сотрудники, решение принимает работодатель. Но в фонде обращают внимание отправлять на больничный в режиме самоизоляции пожилых людей, беременных и лиц с хроническими заболеваниями не нужно. Оплачивать его фонд соцстраха не будет.
Эти лица должны быть переведены на дистанционную работу, или им должен быть предоставлен отпуск ежегодный, оплачиваемый, или период нерабочих дней сохранения заработной платы. Если это невозможно, то в помещении, где эти лица работают, должен быть установлен бактерицидный облучатель, рециркулятор, и ограничить контакты с другими иными лицами для этих лиц. Листок нетрудоспособности в данном случае не выдается.
What would it look like if Crew 1 went to the ISS on a SpaceX Starship? It's not far-fetched to imagine the Starship visiting the ISS. SpaceX has even provided this official concept image of a Starship docked to the station. The image shows an old design of the Starship docked to the forward port on the Harmony module. This is the same port that Bob and Doug docked to with their Crew Dragon, Endeavour. And it's also the same dock that the Space Shuttle used when visiting the station. One of the most important factors here is the number of crew members that may be on a mission or on an expedition. Under normal circumstances, the Space Shuttle would support 5 to 7 astronauts. Crew Dragon holds 4, and the ISS itself houses 6. One consideration of the ISS is that there are 6 crew cabins, which are like little phone booth closets with sleeping bags. 4 of the cabins are located in the US section of the station, with double doors. The other 2 are in the Russian section at the aft end of the station, that each have tools and other items velcroed to the inside of a single large door. Another consideration is the ability for the crew to escape the station in an emergency. Up until now, the ISS has been limited to 6 occupants because only 6 seats on spacecraft that are safe for humans to return to Earth on were available on the station at any given time. Basically, any spacecraft that astronauts on an expedition flew on to get to the station would stay docked to the station and be available as an escape pod until that expedition ended, and then of course the crew would leave the station using the same spacecraft they arrived on. Now that the Crew Dragon holds 4 astronauts comfortably, as opposed to the cramped 3 astronauts that fit into each Soyuz spacecraft, the space station's capacity will be expanded to 7. Not sure where the 7th one will sleep though. I guess you can kind of sleep anywhere when you're in space. Back in the days of the space shuttle, which only had 4 bunks for its 5 to 7 or maybe even 8 or 9 crew members, astronauts were known to find a corner somewhere and zip into their sleeping bag for sleepy time. This 2005 footage shows our Crew 1 astronaut Soichi Noguchi, who, by the way, among other things, is a doctor of philosophy. Now, the theoretical crewed starship is a different beast altogether. SpaceX wants its orbital lifetime to be far greater than the space shuttles, which couldn't stay in space for more than a couple of weeks. SpaceX also wants the Starship to be able to hold 100 humans, and sure, there's plenty of room inside for 100, but Eric X and I came up with this concept that has 64 crew cabins. We designed it so that it could be lived in under the force of gravity and under microgravity, so if it landed on another planet, things would still make sense. This is Deck 0, the cargo hold. This is Deck 1, which has egress options and EVA spacesuits. Deck 2 has 32 of the crew cabins, and for scale, here's one of our Crew 1 astronauts, just relaxing in their flight suit for some reason. Skipping Deck 3 because it's the same as Deck 2, here we can find the exercise machines, showers, and bathrooms on Deck 4. Deck 5 is the mess hall. This is where all the food is stored and where the crew eats. Oh, hey there. Deck 6 is meant to be a multi-purpose activity space with a big window, which also serves as the bridge where all the ship's controls are located. So it's very interesting to think about how a starship that might hold 64 people would connect with a 6 or 7 person capacity space station. Surely the sleeping capacity of the orbital laboratory known as the ISS would be greatly increased with so much living space added by a theoretical crewed starship. While it's fun to visualize the SpaceX Starship, it's important to point out that the reason Crew 1's part of Expedition 64's 6-month mission to the ISS is known as Crew 1, or United States Crew Vehicle 1, is because it will be flying on a highly advanced spaceship named Resilience. Resilience is, of course, a Crew Dragon spacecraft made by SpaceX. Soichi Noguchi said it was a great honor to learn how to ride a Dragon, and that SpaceX did a good job teaching Dragon riders how to fly humanity's newest operational spaceship. This will be the second expedition for each of these 3 of the Crew 1 astronauts, while it will be pilot Victor Glover's first time ever in space at age 44. Please subscribe, share, support, and have a great day. And Godspeed, Crew 1. Open your mind and reach for the stars.
Hello everyone. In the past I already made a video about how to study skills correctly, and I'll put
Смотри, я тоже так думаю. Ну нет, ну там, ну нет, его мысли нет, это его слова по-своему.
You look yesterday, Willie, at the Washington Post article by Bob Costa. They know, and they're admitting now, they can't win these legal lawsuits. They're admitting in front of courts there is no fraud as a matter of law. They're admitting there's no way forward in any of these legal challenges. So now they're moving on and they're going to try to disrupt the electors, doing something that is grossly undemocratic, grossly un-American, and something that will stay with this Republican Party for years to come. They know it's over, and yet they won't do anything about it. Willie, we've ridden the riptide long enough. It's time for America to move forward. Get out of it, start swimming back toward the shore, and get on firm ground. Start planning for a peaceful transfer of power. Start planning for distributing vaccines. Start planning to win this war on the coronavirus. Start having our commander-in-chief talk to our allies and our adversaries. It is past time. Obama gave Trump that advantage. Every president has done that in the past. There is no excuse for Republicans to not start moving forward now. Lives depend on it. And their continued foot dragging is not only wrong, it's un-American.
And let's be honest, there was no excuse from the very beginning. I mean, they all knew where this was headed. They all saw the vote, but they said, let's let this play out. Now, they never did that before. They didn't do it in the races that they won in the House. We've talked about that. Or in the Senate. They didn't do it in 2016. They congratulated the winner immediately. But we'll stipulate that and say, you have a president right now, and we should never take this as routine, even with this president, a president who in the middle of a pandemic that is raging out of control, where we've just crossed 250,000 deaths, as you said, who is holed up at the White House, rage tweeting in all caps that an election was stolen from him. How much longer do you let this go on, Republicans in the Congress? How much longer do you let him do that? How many more people die? How much more space, as you put it, do you give this man? It's time, as Joe said, and let's go through that reporting in the Washington Post from Robert Costa, that the strategy has now apparently changed from the Trump campaign from attempts to disqualify votes to actually disrupting the Electoral College. The Post is reporting the Trump campaign wants to delay certification of the vote long enough to cast doubt on the legitimacy of Joe Biden's win and to change the process for selecting electors. Two anonymous Republican sources tell the Post Rudy Giuliani wants to pressure Republican lawmakers and officials around the country to stall vote certification, then to have Republican lawmakers choose electors to disrupt the Electoral College meeting next month, and that President Trump is in favor of this plan. But Post also reports the outcome appears impossible. It is against the law in Pennsylvania, for example. Wisconsin law gives no role to the legislature in choosing presidential electors, and there is little public in the other states to pursue such a path, according to several people familiar with conversations. Giuliani is regularly conferring with former White House strategic advisor Steve Bannon, one of the architects of Trump's 2016 victory.
Wait, is Bannon not in jail? Wait, is he not in jail?
He's actually, ironically, Joe, he's currently awaiting trial for fraud, which is what he's sort of trying to mastermind this operation.
So that's Willie. That's who the White House is going to. Giuliani is going to a guy who's convicted of fraud, or who's being tried for fraud right now?
Yes, who was arrested on a yacht, you'll remember, this summer, and is being tried for fraud and has wished violence on Anthony Fauci and others most recently. So that's where we are. We should just point out again that this stuff is failing again and again and again in the courts. The courts are holding up in the face of these preposterous arguments made by Rudy Giuliani and others. So they can do what they're going to do. Let them do that. But again, where are Republicans on Capitol Hill? Where are they right now? How much longer do you let this go on?
And at this point, where's Mitch McConnell?
Yep.
Yeah. You know, Mitch has said you got a right to count the votes. I agree. You have a right to bring your legal challenges forward. I agree. But then it's time. The legal challenges we know now, and Republicans in Congress know. Mitch McConnell knows. The legal challenges have all failed. They're going to fail. There's no way forward for this president.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the
Hi everyone, I'm Josh, and welcome to Josh Wright Piano TV. Today's episode is about a concept that I know I've discussed somewhere among my videos, but I can't remember where. We've made hundreds at this point. So even if this video is just to serve as a reminder, I think that this can really help to make your long expressive lines sound more natural. Okay, so one of the interesting tips that I remember learning from Sergei Babayan in a lesson is I was playing this. And one observation that he made, and it's fixed now, but I was doing a lot of this. I was almost doing a separate wrist and arm motion for every single note. This is a really common issue I see among students when they're playing in slow tempi. It doesn't happen as much in fast tempi. If you were playing, your hand naturally kind of makes this circular motion down and around back up to that A flat. You feel that kind of semicircle motion coming over and then going back up to there. And Babayan had said, you know, why don't you practice that in a fast tempo and just cycle it? And I said, okay, that feels good. And he said, now maintain that same shape in your hand. And it feels so natural. So I wanted to demonstrate with also a new piece today, because I know I've mentioned that nocturne, but this is the Rachmaninoff Prelude in G major, Opus 32, number 5. One of my favorite pieces Rachmaninoff ever wrote. Such a beautiful melody here. So. Perhaps we'll make a pro practice on this piece at some point, a pro practice tutorial. So I would say the same thing. I remember teaching this to a student and they went. So they felt that as one motion, but they felt those as two separate motions and then new motion. And then you end up getting sounds like this. It sounds very punched, very vertical, whereas if you do this, you notice it's a natural motion for your wrist and your arm to just kind of in a unified way, kind of lift that weight out like that. So coming down and going back up and pulling that weight out. Now, I'm not saying that you're not grounded in the notes. It doesn't want to be like totally shallow and feel like you're slipping off the key. So you can practice feeling grounded in each note, but then as you unify this, that will feel really nice. And it will sound organic and rounded.
Shallow. Shallow. Это прям... Shallow. Shallow. Ты что, не слышишь, что ли, меня? Что ты... Чем сами нельзя как-то безопасность. А что ты надо? Что это? Ладно, все. Выяснил. Еще раз, что ли? Что это такое? Как ты думаешь, я что-нибудь смогу? Ты же знал, что здесь там все это самое. Ладно, ну как бы да, просто не думаешь, не знаешь, что все. А что ты? Так. Пиши больше лично, это не пиши. Не умеешь играть по жизни, слушай. Ну, не думаешь, это разве не лишнее? Это как бы... А, я не умею играть, хочешь сказать? То есть я что-то... Ну, я понял. А, ну это... Ну... Нет, так если, зачем мне тогда, если я документ я понял, хороший вопрос. Очень хороший ответ. У меня нету планов таких, чтобы поступать в это самое училище. Просто не было. Зачем если так учиться, это ну, нет, это, я ничего не говорю, просто сколько можно учиться, тоже надоело. Учиться это все нормально, это я не категорически против этого. Просто это трата жизни. Так и так трата жизни, понимаешь? Нет, то есть, что толку сейчас вот я вот живу, да, то есть. Что толку? Ну нет, нет. Так нет, наоборот, наоборот. Нет, нет, надо, это есть. Да нет, наоборот. Ладно. Курьеры, оставили сообщение, зачем мне оставили сообщение, курьер не успел добежать. Нет, не печалься. Все. Ну, что-то надо делать.